Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be jumping into the second The Roottrees Are Dead campaign, Roottreemania. I had fairly good reaction actually. I asked the question at the end of my base game series if people would welcome a look at the sort of second bonus campaign, and people said, yeah, that sounds pretty good, so let's do that. Roottreemania. Find out what happens to the infamous family in a whole new mystery. We'll spoil unlocked content, make sure... Yeah, we're done. Do you go in on the same save slot? Maybe. Oh, no, I don't want to delete that. Let's go on a new save then. Here we go. Ooh, we have new things. Somebody at the door. Oh, hello.
Hi.
That's Clark.
I'm Clark. Probably not who you expected to be knocking, but life's funny sometimes. You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down.
Is this a hit? Are we going to be assassinated?
A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too. I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with stress.
Clark's president.
With my mother's deteriorating I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork. Now that it's public knowledge that Clancy Trust covers any Roottrie despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced. You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. That was a disaster for us. And then Miracle went and made it all about himself. The long and short of it is a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in. It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally. Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this. To each their own.
Okay, well, let's have a look at our new tree then. Ooh, possible infidelities. First affair, final affair. Ooh, what's this? Infidelity, married, split up. Family tree update. Okay, so the people who are on the original tree are marked. Okay. Ooh. So the timeline kind of moves down in this direction then. 1921, 49, 75 to 82, and 98. We have another top secret file. What does this one say? You can open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. Have to be extra sleuthy this time around to deduce the truth. Pay close attention to what you find and be sure to look into loose ends. Intriguing. So we have... Okay, I don't know how many total there is, unless I... Okay, so we have to do batches of 4 from the off this time. I guess the first thing to do is look at our new evidence. So we have notable events. The 6 pieces. Today is August 3rd, 99. Okay, so it's... Here we go. 8 months since we helped Sam Madsen with the research necessary for her book. Sam was true to her word and paid you an incredibly large sum of money. We haven't moved house, though, by the look of it. She never mentioned you by name, however, so you've managed to keep a low profile. The Roottrees, on the other hand, have not. Below is a summary of notable events since the book's release, though you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. 6 pieces. Sam Madsen's book about Elias Roottree was released in February. It was a bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. The Roottree Rift. So a month later, in March, the Roottrie companies stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release, with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark. Clark was announced as the permanent successor to Carl and welcomed Sam Madsen to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle the changes to the Clancy Trust. And I'll make sure to actually Google this time because it might be useful. This included any other new questions of lineage. 5 Ps. After this announcement, there was a rash of different people claiming to be Roottrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5Ps as a publicity move at the same time. 5Ps is the only notable person on the updated tree. Okay. Roottreemania. In another high-profile misstep, Miracle Roottree publicly and vehemently denied that 5Ps was a Roottree. The Rootree's legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get 5Ps to drop his claim, and in a moment that caught what seemed like the entire world by storm, the test proved that he was a Roottree. Suddenly the world was obsessed with the Roottrees. Anonymum and Jane Doe Roottree. Okay. In July, an anonymous woman, who the press began to refer to as Anonymum, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Roottree led to the birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Roottree. If true, this would make her daughter yet another secret Roottree, and therefore entitled to a share of the Clanstead Trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn out to be the last chapter in the Roottreemania saga. As more and more of Anonymum's story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5P's in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn. Confirming the world's suspicions, the DNA test orchestrated by lawyers on both sides proved that her daughter was not a Roottree. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of the entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax or an attempt at fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of Roottreemania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. Previously on. Okay, this is just a reminder to us about stuff that happened. I mean, I played it very recently, so I don't feel like I need that. But what's this? Okay. Okay, so this is the letter that Clark handed us. He also handed you a letter that he said you could share with Sam that said the following to the both of you. The company I hired to help us with the Clanstead Trust is busy poring through the entire family's history, as well as people they may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy with this and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches, so please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could be realistically part of a relationship that led to the birth of a new Roottree. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new sections of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying that the timeline checks out. But keep in mind why we're here. If someone didn't have a child or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with the negative test, there won't be a place for them on the tree. We're not just looking for affairs and infidelities, we're only looking for the ones that led to a potential new Roottrees. Some spots in the news section will be marked with a tree icon. Those areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled in 8 months ago. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you add. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. To start sorting out the infidelities, I recommend you turn your eyes to the men in positions of power. I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for the women to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without the family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt, I'm no stranger to infidelity. I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so why pretend? Some of us learned how to wield our family name and fortune to our benefit. Consequences be damned. I can't change the past or unhurt those who I betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you, refuse to make any more mistakes, and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both. Clark. Okay, so here we go. So there is one notable on the tree, so he should have a star. So this is 5Ps. I probably don't have that here, do I? So we've got to, I think the first thing to do is look up 5Ps and find out real name. Big Spot, what's Big Spot? Oh, we've still got the photo editor. Okay. Love that 90s modems. Okay, so we've got, yeah, we've still got the periodicals, the public library, and our spider search. So let's look up 5Ps. Oh yeah, Felix Fellows. That was mentioned in the thing, wasn't it? Felix Fellows is a rapper. So let's just stick that in straight away. Felix Fellows. Well, probably musician, right? But I'll look up R first in case it's separate, it isn't. So we'll keep musician in there. Found some recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as a long-lost Roottrie and entitled to part of their fortune. His alias, 5Ps, is a play on 5 pieces. An article you find on a website known for their particularly harsh reviews of modern music gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star out of 7 for whatever reason, with the headline, More Poser Than My Action Figure Collection. The review mentions his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirty Davy, and the author rues the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Apparently, only one of the songs on the album is new, and the others were simply rewritten to turn blatant references to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to prominence was kick-started when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of Newstime, holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. At first, the Roottree company denied it vehemently. Miracle Roottree even appeared on the same magazine a week later. But since then they've backtracked and publicly welcomed him to the family. Their press release at the time stated they had new evidence that confirmed his story. Okay, so a few things. So his... I mean, I would say that's Guy Hudson, but... that must be Guy Hudson then, I guess? Oh, okay. So I don't have the earlier photos then, because Guy was this one, right? However, apparently this guy, I've lost him now. Where is he? There he is. His name is actually David. I'll stick with the fellows until we know otherwise. Okay, so let's start looking up stuff. Have I still got my old... I do still have my periodicals. So why don't we start with modern music, and we'll just look up 5Ps here. Nothing relevant was found. Okay. What about Felix Fellows? No. What about David Fellows? Interesting. Here we go. 5Ps is popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted towards teen girls, they seem to be paying attention anyways. While he hasn't done any interviews with the magazine, they've listed him among the hunky hotties for the past few months with small bios that tell you various facts about him. This includes his real name, David, his birthday, his star sign, and where he grew up, foster care in Portland. Foster care. So these could be foster parents, maybe? Or maybe mum... yeah, I don't know. Don't know yet. A letter to the editor also claims that it's not possible that he was born in 77, as he claimed in a song called 17 Magazine, that he turned 17 in 92. The editor responds with a statement that they've reached out to his agent to ask about the song and were told it wasn't performed by 5Ps and they shouldn't print rumours. Huh. Let's look up these, because it might have his picture. Maybe in this as well. "17 Magazine," sometimes referred to as 17 Magazine, is the title of an unreleased and controversial song by Dirty Davy. There's mentions of it on a few sites, claiming that it was on the first release of his first mixtape but was removed. There's no audio or visual evidence of it even existing, but there are independent accounts from people who have claimed to have heard it, and they do generally line up. According to their recollection, it was about many different loosely connected occurrences of the number 17, mostly violent. The intro states it was written on Davy's 17th birthday and involved a fictional but glorified series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title. The person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Due to major acts of gun violence in schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games, it is generally considered in very poor taste to bring it up. Most of the people that enjoy mentioning it online are either trolls or trying to shock people or come from the morbidly curious corners of the internet. Let's try putting it in here. Okay, what about... what about... Okay, I'm looking for his original name. So we got David Fellows. No. Yeah, David Fellows. Okay, so it does confirm that his birth name was Fellows. Previous stage name. Form shows in Portland. People calling his on one apparent Dirty Devil. Okay, well let's keep going on this little avenue for now. First mixtape. There's discrepancies and debates about what year exactly it was released based on some of the pop culture references, with the range thought to be somewhere between 92 and 94. Some fan sites claim there are multiple versions with different track lists and song lengths. Okay, so... Because what I'm thinking is there's a timeline here, isn't there? Him being born in 77, which the editor said wasn't possible, or was incorrect. I'm not quite sure. I'll file that away in my brain for now. Look at this song. It was on his mixtape. It seems to be the only song that didn't make it onto his studio album that people thought it should have. In it, he references a popular movie from '92, White Men Can't Jump. This reference has caused some confusion amongst the fanbase. Because of it, it is agreed upon that the mixtape had to come out in '92 at the earliest. But others point out that Fellows references seeing the movie on his 17th birthday, which would have been in '94. So he's 2 years... 2 years older than he's claiming to be. Okay. Why is this timeline important? I'm not sure. Well, probably because the infidelity could have happened in 75. And if he is 2 years older than he's claiming to be, that would mean that he was born in 75. I still haven't found a photo of this guy, which seems a bit odd. Mixtape, released in '96. There's a lot of online discourse from people who like to point out that in one of the songs, Felix Fellows includes someone that would be revealed to be his own distant cousin Raina in a list of attractive women. The lyrics to one of the songs, Heat, mentions a few different prominent female actresses, models and musicians from the 90s, and provides a crude pun or line about what Fellows felt about them. When re-released in '99, much of the rhetoric was toned down to be less overtly profane, and the line referencing Raina was clumsily replaced by Dana, A reference to a character from the X-Files. Okay. Right. Oh, history. Okay, let's look up his album then. According to various sources, the album is mostly material that 5Ps recorded for his mixtapes before he became notable, but re-recorded with lyrical differences and professional production. All Your Problems was the first and only single. After dropping the single, he announced that he'd retained the infamous celebrity lawyer Stevie Whitlock to sue his family. To date, it doesn't seem like he's followed through. At first, the single didn't make much of a splash, but Whitlock, known for publicity stunts, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which increased its profile. MTV eventually caught on and banned the video altogether, which in turn received national news coverage and made the song even more popular. Well, let's look this up. Maybe we'll finally get a picture of the guy. Okay, we've got an MP3. The track is the only new song on the album. The subject matter of the song is the hypocrisy of those that claim money is evil. He points out that the only people who think money is evil are those that have it, those that can afford not to be greedy. In the song, 5Ps triumphantly talks about the Roottree's wealth due to it being his birthright and giving it to those who need it most. You can find a copy of the song on a suspicious-looking website. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, there might be stuff in here that's relevant. So, a Madsen chick and her two dads. My pappy's Clanset Trust should keep you away. So I need to look up this Clanset Trust, definitely. He's coming to Portland. I don't know how to search him being from Portland, unless I could look up a Portland newspaper maybe, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the title of a Portland newspaper yet, though. Can't really see anything else. So let's look up this Clanset Trust and finally see what the internet says about it. Is the Roottree Company's unusual older? Okay, well this is the updated one, so let's just read this first. Legal arrangement, the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire family earns inheritance directly from the profits of the candy company, as well as their sister clothing company, Root. With the full stop. Okay, that's important to note. This means that nearly every Roottree can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations. Historically, this has caused the family to be slow to approve any major expenditures that could significantly dig into the profits. After the release of 6 pieces, we should read this, by the way, in the public library. 6 pieces, Sam Madsen. The Clanset Trust came under heavy scrutiny. Sam, her children, and her grandchildren should have been covered under the trust, according to the wording revealed during an internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie. It seems that those who wrote the trust, Clancy, Edward, and Elias, purposely deceived the rest of the family about the exact details of how it worked, in an attempt to keep Sam and her father, Edward Clancy, his own twin brother, in comparative poverty. Because the rest of the family made money hand over fist, they had very little motivation to question their understanding. Sam's book revealed this to the public, and it did not go over well. Clark took over the company, and his most celebrated move was his first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. To help facilitate this, the inheritance aspect of the trust is now under the control of a third party, Ruby Legal Enterprises, probably worth looking them up. This ensures that the financial motivations of the Roottree family members will not interfere with the investigations into potential new Roottrees. According to Clark's letter, some family members are still doing their best, la la la. Okay, well let's, we'll go back to the book as well, but let's just quickly look this up. Name of the law firm that has been hired by the Roottree Candy Company. Its head lawyer, Ruby Spratt, we'll also look him up. You can't find much about the company from before this year, though all of the articles tell the same tale. After the fiasco of 6 Pieces and the revelation that the Rootrees' internal law group was complicit in such a cover-up, they hired outside counsel. The Ruby Legal Enterprise Group now seems to have ties to multiple aspects of the corporation, including the candy company and Root. They were recently in the news due to a high-profile lawsuit they raised against Cicely Sanchez. So, who's Cicely Sanchez? Best known for Portrait of a Changed Man, her follow-up Foreign Gospel, la la la. She has written a few more books since then. Recently she appeared in a magazine called Picotee. We'll look that up. An article about a book she had been commissioned to write for Guy Hudson. Okay. The magazine and Cicely herself were immediately issued a cease and desist due to its inclusion of pictures that she never had the rights to publish. The issue was pulled from store shelves, making it a collector's item. Okay, so Picotee, Cicely Sanchez. In an issue that focused on a talking toy fish and the demonic messages it supposedly said as the batteries ran low, Picotee had an article about a cancelled book by Cicely Sanchez. The book's subject was Guy Hudson, and the issue was said to contain pictures that Cicely did not have the rights to publish. Because of the pictures, this issue was pulled from store shelves. La 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 la. The version found in these archives is incomplete. Okay, well, let's take a look anyway. Picotee, Basil Bub. Okay, we don't have any other pages here. Unreleased book about Guy Hudson. Seems that it used photos of Guy. It's a red herring again. We had this in the previous one with the notable who turned out to be like red something herring. Yeah. Okay. It does say there's 8 things here though. I guess Cicely Sanchez probably does have a bit more to her. Can we look up other things? I will look her. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the book's name, which makes that a bit tougher. I could use Picotee to look up Felix Fellows as well. Oops. Seeing as it's a new one. Okay, let's have a look at this. So first of all, let's do... can I just... Yeah, okay. If I put Guy Hudson... Yeah, because I don't know the name of her book. That's the problem. What about looking at Ruby Spratt? Like her legal company is relatively elusive. The most complete source of information you can find before a time with Roottrees is from the website for a magazine owned by a major airline. Okay, she was the subject of one article from a recurring series about modern-day success stories. She grew up in foster care. Oh, okay, another one in foster care, but excelled at school and earned a scholarship to study at Mid-Eastern University. There, she graduated at the top of her legal class and was quickly hired as a lawyer for a prominent firm. Okay. There are a few high-profile corporate-involved cases she was a part of. One was as a legal consultant for a class-action lawsuit. Another was to help a local gas station chain. Again, Portland. I need to find the Portland local paper, don't I? With the rollout of a promotion that allowed gas station customers the ability to bet on the price of gas, the blurb ends by calling her new firm a double threat. Her company's services are a cross between a traditional lawyer and a PR manager. I wonder if she's a Roottree. The foster care thing is a link with Felix Fellows. I'm going to look her up in some of these things. Oh, that's not right. Okay, it seems that Ruby actually approached the Roottrees sometime in late March. She approached them after the Roottree rift. An accomplished but relatively low-profile lawyer, she offered to work for very little money so long as she could be a public face to build her reputation. The family quickly jumped on this chance, as many family members often attempted to spend as little as possible. After looking over the Clancy Trust more carefully than anyone had in years, Ruby came to the conclusion that Clancy Edwards' implementation was not legally sound and that there would be constant legal challenges without some modifications. The family decided to put her in charge of the trust, both legally and as a public face, to prevent further issues. Her first move, as a sort of trial run before she was even hired permanently, was to help them draft a public statement accepting Sam into the family and declaring that they'd begin to address the Clancy Trust. This went quite well, and they officially hired her in early April. Ruby Legal is now in charge of many aspects of the company. What's the older version? Okay. Yeah, okay. I just Google Portland newspaper. Right, okay, well I think let's look up 6 pieces. I said Sam had some sections and other family secrets and rumours. Right, this is probably going to be quite a rich vein of stuff, I would imagine. Oh. Okay, so I don't have different pages here. Anyway, let's read this. She ran the farm for a period starting around 68, after the death of Elias, until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 84. Most of the relevant rumours coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as president in 78. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to 6 pieces, it was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Many of their hires at the time were young single women, and Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonelli's met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumour has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Okay. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding markets previously untapped by Roottree. However, when he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meetings with distributors and manufacturers. It was often said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. There's also a section where Sam speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. That was his wife, wasn't it? Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she has no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage, instead of it being a natural course of events. She mentioned that Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth from the farm supervisor, but never met her. Okay. Well, this would be this is going to be Guy Hudson, because he just seems to be the source for a lot of this stuff. Now, he was the 3rd president. I don't know why I can't use his photo, but there we go. Yeah, lots spawning off there. Now, one of these is going to be Elias. I'm just trying to remember what his sort of time... Oh, okay, yes. That 1921 probably is Elias, then. We can probably put that in. No photos. Okay. Let's go to Butler County. The most recent was it closed in 92. The owner, Rochelle Zimmer, sold the land the building was on. At the time of the article, she was unsure if it would move to a new location or if she would retire. Puff piece from Valentine's Day in 78 that asked recently married residents of Butler County how they met. This could be interesting. Christine Garland responded. She and her husband Steve, who was a chef, met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Okay, so this is going to be Elizabeth's daughter. Let me just copy that name. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Although they grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers, they reconnected by chance and eloped at the end of last year. So this tallies with what Sam said in her book. Now she has a bun in the oven and they're both working as much as they can. She's a secretary but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their own restaurant. Okay, now if I put her in as well... Okay, well I think there's reason to suggest that... Christine Garland, however... We don't know which one she'd have been. Was there anything else in here? I think I might have to put it as a note for now. Because I don't think I can pinpoint exactly where on the tree she is. I suspect that she is not the mother of David Fellows. Although they did elope, but could you elope to Portland, or would eloping necessarily be overseas? I mean, he was a chef. His name isn't necessarily Antonelli, is it? Unless his name's Steve Garland. Husband. Yeah, maybe... yeah, okay, so maybe that's her maiden name. Aha! Yeah, so he is Steve Garland. Article How He Met His Wife, Christine. So we have... okay, so that is her married name. There we go. So that was the first mention. So this is before 78. Okay. Months later. Okay, so this... I think that implies that she isn't the first. The second mention is from months later in September 78, a listing for his weekend cooking classes, Gourmet for the Groovy. The blurb mentions that he's been giving lessons from his home kitchen for the last month, so he can keep an eye on his son. Okay. So they had a son. I'm gonna have to keep this in notes because I don't know where on the tree she goes. I'll keep that open for now. There might be more here. The third was from 91 and is titled Local Author Sued by Former Butler County Resident. It seems that the local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer promoting his book Kitchen Tales on television. His recipe book was partially plagiarized from the recipes that Steve Garland would give his students during his cooking lessons before he moved. The article mentions that although recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with short fiction about how he learned it. These usually doubled as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, involved making a trade with a gnome for some magic beans. Apparently these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook, in addition to additional stories that followed the same format. Okay, let's just put this in here for now. Sued Mark Zimmer, 1991, Kitchen Tale book. But I will look that up now. So let's go to our periodical, our public library. Out of print. Re-released as Garnishing the Truth. A recipe book that contains story. Okay, well let's search for that instead. Oh, the periodicals. Ah! Oh, what was it? Huh. Rochelle and her husband Mark Zimmer have a few mentions in the County Times. Rochelle owned Antonelli's. Oh, okay. And Mark owned a local bookstore called Bookmarks, both closed in 92. Mark was also mentioned once when he was sued by Steve Garland. Oh, this is going to be complicated, isn't it? I'll make another note, though. Rochelle Zimmer owned Antonelli's. In case that's useful. Okay, well, let's Google this as well. Ah. Oh, well, we could search for that there, I suppose. Lauren Roottrees did a book signing in 70. I feel like we've done a lot of digging, but I can't believe I still don't have this guy's photo. That's insane. Don't have any photos. Not even Guy Hudson. I'll tell you what, let's just look up Guy Hudson, because hopefully we can get a photo of him at least. Okay, so this is actually an updated article. He's mostly faded into obscurity, except for the fancy flavors debacle. That's when he made a caviar flavor. During Roottreemania, he suddenly rose to prominence again after 5Ps appeared on the cover of a magazine holding a photo of Guy and his mother. We need to work out what magazine that was, because that'll give us 5Ps' photo. A few people that existed adjacent to the company in the 70s have come forward with stories about debauchery and swinger parties. Guy liked to throw large holiday parties whenever he had an excuse, and they often got very out of hand. This fact has led some people to speculate that the night he died in a car crash he was drunk or impaired in some way, but the Butler County Police have released multiple statements and ample evidence that proves decisively that it was not foul play and that no party had taken place. Okay. Well, we just look up... Yeah, well, look, we will get to look up all those. Let's look up fancy flavours. Right, okay. I know we got this in the first game. I'm just trying to get pictures of Guy Hudson. Okay, well, we need to... So if we just look 5 Ps... Let's do it in all of these. Because we don't know what magazine he was in. So he's probably born in 75 if he's actually 2 years older. It's going to be this magazine, but it said it's similarly named. 17 magazine. 17. This is Teen magazine. I think I'm banging my head against this. We could look up her other books, see if anything shakes loose from that. Foreign Gospel. Need to find out what that book was called. Doesn't say the name type here, does it? Cicely Sanchez reveals Roottrie secrets. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back. We're just gonna do a search now, I think, for these things. We'll work our way through here. I mean, I've got Sam's book, but it didn't really have very... I mean, it said some stuff in it, but I wasn't able to, like, search entries or get photos from it, which is a bit disappointing. Well, this would be another... no. Okay, cleverly I managed to somehow accidentally mute my microphone for this last few minutes of the video. Didn't really miss anything particularly amazing, but just to say that, yeah, I think we'll leave it here for now. And when we come back, we'll delve a little further into maybe some of the other notable events on our timeline, like the Roottrie Rift, I think, is one, that kind of thing. But thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Roottreemania. If you have, if you could hit that like button, that'd be fantastic. Do leave a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts on what progress, if any, we've made so far. I feel like it's been a little bit, not frustrating, but a recognition that this is a little harder to get going on, I think, than the first game. Which I think, you know, I've seen comments on the last Roottrees video to that effect, that this is a little harder to brute force, maybe a little harder to get rolling on. But yeah, no, enjoying it so far. Let me know your thoughts. And if you're watching this and not yet subscribed to the channel, if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. So thanks very much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.